First off, sorry it's been so long between videos. Part of that's because I got sick, although thankfully nothing serious, but mainly I've been struggling to settle on how the economy system should work and how it fits in with the gameplay. Really the main reason for the economy sim to exist at all was to give the player a reason to transport cargo other than handwritten story jobs. As much as I love world building, actual story writing isn't one of my strengths, so cargo trading seemed like an easy solution to keep the game going without a ton of story. But it wouldn't be very satisfying if the prices were all just random numbers. I wanted things to feel connected, for events in the news to lead to predictable opportunities for profit. But somehow I lost sight of that. The economy sim had too many moving parts to really be predictable, and long story short, after weeks of brainstorming, trying things and scrapping them, I finally decided that cargo trading just isn't the answer. Even if I can make that gameplay satisfying, it doesn't really make up for a shortage of jobs. It doesn't feel right to have a jobs tab at all if it's going to be empty most of the time. So instead I'm filling that gap with procedurally generated jobs. There's still an economy simulation driving some of that, but it's much simpler now. No more individual companies, competing products, or population units. Instead, each location has production and consumption of a few basic resource types, and they trade with each other directly using contract cargo haulers like you to actually move the goods. I can do a lot with this simple framework, though. Random events can affect the rate of production or consumption. When a blight ruins the biomass production at one station, you can expect a spike in biomass transport jobs to that station. The end result is the same as you buying low and selling high, but now you don't have to keep track of prices and try to predict profit yourself. Your profit is predetermined by the payout of the job, and you don't have to pay any attention to the economy if you don't want to. It's only there to make things feel connected. Events in the news, procedurally generated jobs, traffic, etc. Speaking of traffic, the cargo traders are essentially freelancers now. They take jobs from the same pool you do, and you get first dibs, but any jobs you don't take are up for grabs. They hire from the same pool you do too, and if someone they hired shows up again later, they'll have gained experience. Of course, some of them won't make it. A large portion of NPC cargo traders will fail at their jobs and lose their crew. And I should mention the hiring pool is also influenced by the economy. In places that are struggling, more people want to get jobs on cargo ships. The economy sim is also now written in GDScript using the same interface that will be available to mods, so in theory, a modder could change how most of this works. I've also added a lot more flexibility to the jobs. For instance, they can have flexible amounts of cargo. If there's an urgent need for medical supplies, it shouldn't be all or nothing. If you've only got room for one crate, you should still get paid for that. But the more you transport, the more you'll get paid. But those won't be the only procedural jobs, and now jobs can have multiple steps, pickups, waypoints, drop-offs, and custom objectives written in GDScript, so mods can come up with something entirely new. As an example, I've got a job here to test out a prototype weapon. The objective will complete when it's used in combat, but I can't demonstrate that part right now because I haven't added pirate traffic in yet. Another big change is how time passes. I've gone back to operating by days, and each hyperspace jump takes 1 day. The map tells you how long a trip will take. You can also skip a day if you want while you're docked. This is mostly for the sake of story jobs. From the beginning I was planning on doing something unusual here, having a story that plays out mostly in the background on a preset timeline that doesn't wait for you. I'm sticking to that plan, and I've got a first draft outline of that story. It's got branches and multiple endings, and if you want to affect the outcome, you'll need to be in the right place at the right time. I don't want to say too much and spoil the plot before the game is even finished, but I will say it involves illicit time travel technology, which I think makes it fitting that if you want to find the best possible ending, you'll probably need to play through multiple times and use clues from news headlines of your previous runs. Speaking of which, I finally added a better way to read the news if you don't want to wait for it to scroll by. It can also automatically pop up when you arrive at a station if you want. I've made a lot of other UI changes too. On the crew tab, there's now just one list, and you can unpin your crew from the top if you want to sort them in with the candidates for hire. Every table in the UI is now sortable by any column, and they're all scrollable too if these lists get long enough. The shop tab has also had a big overhaul. You can optionally show equipped items in your inventory and filter by category. I've also brought back the Sell All button, and instead of trying to cram stats into a table column, I've got a big text box to describe each item. Drag and drop still works pretty much the same as before. Finally, the build tab has been reworked to look more consistent with the others. So with all that sorted out, I'm hoping to start moving much faster again. Outer Loop stuff is pretty much done aside from content and ship trading, so pretty soon I'll be turning my focus to combat gameplay again. But first, I've hit a big milestone with this channel, with 10,000 subscribers, and that means it's time to finish that GD native tutorial I was talking about. Thanks so much to everyone who's been following this series. I honestly didn't expect this channel to get so big. I know most of it's just because of one video about why I chose Godot, but still, having an audience like this gives me hope that Cargo Defense could be a success. Exposure is one of the biggest challenges for getting off the ground as a small indie dev. So again, thank you. As always, it really helps me out if you hit the like button, spread the word, and subscribe if you haven't already, and of course, thanks for watching.